needed.
Well, with companies downsizing, it's important to see the signs in order to safeguard your job. Sherri Thomas of Career Coaching 360 is here to help. Once again, thanks for coming in, Sherri. All right, but besides the obvious, what do people need to look for? I mean, it's obvious when they're closing the door and shuttering the windows.
Locking the doors.
You know, exactly. But I mean, what are the signs people need to look for that they're in trouble?
Okay, well, one is that if you've been through layoffs, get ready because there could be multiple rounds of layoffs. That is actually a sign.
Don't assume it's over.
Don't assume it's over. Also, if programs are being cut, if funding is being cut, if menus, lines of services are being cut, all indications. But also, before every single layoff, there's a heaviness in the air.
But even afterwards, I mean, how do you know when that's ended? I guess you don't. You have to assume it may happen again.
It may happen again, but right before, there's always some kind of, depressed environment that you can really feel. Senior managers aren't talking, people aren't social, being social anymore, so.
All right, let's talk about the 4 signs that your career may be on the chopping block. One thing when the layoffs are happening as a whole, but what about for you?
Okay, so in the environment, I mean, that's a big sign. Those are signs that we just talked about. And if that happens, you want to set up a meeting with your manager face-to-face. Make sure you're aligning on expectations and make sure you're delivering results. You beat an environment not by being busy, but by delivering results.
Yeah, don't fly under the radar. You want to take the bull by the horns. What else do you want to do in that environment to kind of take control of it?
Well, look around at your job assignments, look around at your role and see if maybe they've transitioned into those lower valued, lower visibility projects. Also take a look at your past performance review. These are ways that you're being measured. These are ways that you can see how you stand up with your peers.
And earlier during our first hour, you were talking about when you suddenly find yourself not getting invited to various things that were going on within the company. Explain that.
That's sign number 3, and that's really losing your influence. That's if your sphere of influence starts shrinking. So what I mean by that is if you've been invited to meetings and all of a sudden meetings are happening without you. Or if you've usually given input on key business decisions and now people aren't seeking your input. That's a real indication that you're losing influence, and that's a real indication that the company is moving on without you.
And you have to at some point do that, because otherwise you're just out the door.
Well, in that particular case, my recommendation is put together a really strong plan B for yourself. It's a pretty good indication that you've already been marked for a layoff. So you want to answer the question, what would I do if I'm laid off tomorrow? Put together a plan B. Would you freelance? Would you do consulting? Would you put up a website and be an entrepreneur? Think about that and start taking action steps towards that.
And if it never happens, great. But if it does, you're
prepared. You got a plan B.
All right, Sherri Thomas, Coaching 360. We appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Jim?
Okay.